How's it going, Yankee fans? Welcome back to Fireside Yankees with Alex and Ryan. Wanted to give you guys another little Kyle Tucker update, some rumors, some stuff flowing around right now. But first and foremost, if you guys aren't interested, obviously, in these updates, rumors, you don't have to tune into this one. But if you aren't interested in that, I'd love to get your feedback on, kind of content we can produce over the next couple of weeks. The best way to kind of produce great content for you guys is to ask what you guys really want to see. Player breakdowns, analysis, like more rumors. What are you guys interested in watching on a daily basis? Because we're always looking for good ideas and stuff to make you guys happy as we get kind of through the rest of this winter and hopefully get to March with some more exciting news. And, the Yankees are making some moves, but they have no rush right now. There's really no rush or no pressure to get something done. I know the Cubs are involved right now with the Kyle Tucker sweepstakes, so we'll discuss that a bit. But, there's going to be some other stuff going on. They got to reinforce the bullpen. I think a couple trades. Obviously, the Cody Bellinger stuff that's been fire and smoke for years. We know that Jed Hoyer does not want to shed or doesn't want to take out any salary from Cody Bellinger's contract, which is a primary reason why Cashman doesn't want to get Bellinger now. He's just going to wait and be like, okay, we'll just wait you out. We have no reason to acquire Bellinger right now. We have months before the season starts. And obviously, Tucker has become their kind of plan A post Juan Soto. If they don't get Tucker, plan B will be probably back to Christian Walker, maybe acquiring Bellinger and just kind of fill needs as they come. But Ryan, looking at the situation right now, there's some stuff coming out. I know it's a little different from every reporter. You have Bruce Irvin or Levine saying that the Cubs are willing to give Cam Smith and Paredes, and then you have Jim Bowden of The Athletic saying that the Yankees haven't offered Luis Gil yet, but we think he has. We think that the Yankees have offered him, and there's a lot of conflicting reports, information going on right now. What do you think is the truth? What do you think is the situation for the Yankees, the likelihood that Tucker is a realistic possibility? I think it's realistic, but the Yankees probably got to cough up a little bit more than we think just because of the Cubs offer.
Well, if the Cubs are willing to start going to the depths of, either going out and trading Isak Paredes and Cam Smith and a pitcher, if they're willing to do that, then I feel like the Cubs are going to get him, because Paredes provides the Astros the major league bat at third base. It cuts off their need for Alex Bregman. Now that, Bregman, if the Cubs complete this deal, I do wonder how this affects the Bregman market. I wonder if the Yankees are sitting around kind of waiting to see what happens with Tucker, because, if the Astros are out on Bregman and Bregman's market comes down to a Red Sox team that's publicly split on signing him, you have the Boston Red Sox. I think there was a report that Craig Breslow, their president of baseball operations, is against acquiring Alex Bregman, while Alex Cora, the team manager who was the bench coach during the 2017 World Series postseason and that Astros team in general, he seems to really like Bregman and that stuff. We had that report from Brian Hoke recently that the Yankees had some interest in Bregman, but Jack Curry spoke to Yankee people the day before and said that, they don't believe he's a fit at Yankee Stadium. I do lean more towards believing Jack Curry. This has nothing to do with anyone's credibility. It's just that who Jack Curry talks to is direct with the organization. I think there's a gap between agent sources and organizational sources. Christian Walker's a route that I think they're going to revisit. Jack Curry mentioned that those are talks they can pick up as things go on. And I'll stand by what I said when there was traction there. The Yankees and Christian Walker got very close to a deal. The Yankees made a very competitive offer north of $66 million. Whether all that money is guaranteed or not, that we won't know that unless they sign him, because if they don't sign him, I don't think we'll ever know the details of that contract. But from my understanding, the Yankees made a very aggressive offer. Teams that would need a first baseman, the Seattle Mariners earlier today was reported that they don't have the money for it. The Houston Astros, if the Astros can't, afford to keep Kyle Tucker, one would assume they can't afford to pay 3 years for Christian Walker. There are not a lot of teams that are going to be, I think, desperately in for Christian Walker and give them that money. So I think that's something they'll recircle to. If the Yankees was out on Tucker, it seems like Bellinger is the next course of action, right? Like that just, I don't love it, but it seems Band-Aid. Like that's, if you were a betting man, Alex, and again, shout out Fireside Bets if you guys are 21 or older. Fireside Bets on Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, and of course, we have a YouTube page as well and a Discord. But if you're a betting man, I think it's safe to say Cody Bellinger is the most likely player to join the New York Yankees that's currently either A, on a different team, or B, on the free agent market.
Yeah, as a betting man, and I am a little bit of, I dabble in the dark arts. This is one of those, there's smoke, there's fire type of situations. The Yankees have been connected to Bellinger for years. But Cashman's not going to acquire him unless Hoyer's willing to take on some of his salary. And I think that's the right decision because that 2025 luxury tax price and 2026, if he picks up his player option, is $26.6 million. And Bellinger had a 109 WRC plus last year. Like, that's not worth $26.6 million. Now, he's a fine defensive player. He's not a great defensive player. He's just slightly above average, I'd say. In the outfield and at first base, he's probably average. But his lefty bat, obviously, it does translate well to Yankee Stadium. He would have hit 24 homers of the 18 he hit last year. That short right porch would be his best friend. He grew up a Yankee fan. Like, this is a guy who I think would succeed with the Yankees objectively. The question is, how much value you're going to get from Bellinger? He can't be the only piece. So the pivot away from Tucker would be you just acquire Bellinger. Hopefully Cubs take on a bit of salary. And you at the same time have to sign another free agent bat. Whether that's, personally, Ryan, how would you go about this? Let's say you sign Bellinger to play in the outfield, right? Because that's really what you're not gonna put him at first base. You could get Walker, but they gave, the Diamondbacks gave him the QO, so you now have to give up draft capital to get Christian Walker. Would you rather just sign Carlos Santana over Christian Walker at that point and just keep the draft picks?
Well, look, I think at this point in time, you have to. I don't think the Yankees were weighing the draft picks when they were about to sign him. I think they began weighing it once Kyle Tucker became a possibility. And look, it is the Yankees' job to explore all options. It is the Yankees' responsibility to do all they can to see how involved they can be on Kyle Tucker. But there are a couple of elements that the Yankees have to work against that aren't helping them, right? Number one, you have the fact that the Houston Astros and New York Yankees have a contentious relationship. This is an organization that, may not approve a trade to the New York Yankees. This is an ownership group in Jim Crane. There's an owner, excuse me, in Jim Crane, who may not be okay dealing him to the Yankees. So, that's something that he can't control, that being Cashman. And then his direct competitor for someone like Tucker is a team that has more to give, right? They have a better prospect pool. They have a bat in Isak Paredes who fits perfectly at Houston. He's a pulled fly ball machine. I'm terrified to see what he does there if the Cubs execute that trade. For the Astros, you don't want to strengthen a contender, right? The AL sucks. The American League is terrible. With that knowledge, if the Astros get Isak Paredes, Cam Smith comes up and hits and he can play third and Paredes plays first, and you have, the ability to add a starting pitcher if you're the Houston Astros, you're right there in it with everybody. You're immediately one of the better teams in the American League. You should be the favorites to win the AL West, and that's all that really matters, right? If you give Kyle Tucker to the Yankees, you are not winning the American League. The Yankees will win the American League. I guarantee you if the Yankees get Kyle Tucker, they'll have at least the best record in the American League. Barring, some balls out offseason from another contender. If you look at projected standings for 2025 season on Fangraphs, you look at the top AL teams, it's the Yankees, their win percentage of .531, that's 85 wins, right? They are a league down from the Dodgers and the Braves, who sit closer to that 90-win projected mark. And look, projected wins don't mean that that's how many games you're exactly going to win, but that's your 50th percentile outcome. It's just as likely you hit over that as you do under that, so that should be mentioned. The Astros are at 527. They're about a win behind the Yankees. Orioles at 523. The Rangers at 520. The Red Sox at 519. There's no dominant. The best team, the best projected win total in the AL is 85 wins, Alex. It's not a league where, and the Yankees, I would argue the Yankees haven't done any. The Yankees have gotten Max Fried, but they have not done even half of the work they have to do, or half the work I hope they do, right?
They're going to do it, dude. Right. You don't waste Aaron Judge and Garrett Cole's prime. You don't waste a year of Max Fried. Let's be honest. They're going to make more moves. It's just a matter of what they're going to be.
Zip's projections dropped their projections for the Yankees today. They project them as a high 80s, low 90s team, and I think that's also a fair projection. And if you look at where their biggest holes are, it's first base. It's first base.
They immediately get better at first base with any organism playing at the position.
It's truly, I don't mean to say this to come off as a shill, the Yankees are fine, losing so doesn't matter. Obviously these things matter and they hurt the Yankees, right? But this isn't a team that couldn't have benefit from improving their depth chart, right? This is a team that was very bad offensively everywhere outside of center field and right field for the most part. They were league average offensively at catcher. They were barely a smidge better than average at second base. They needed help, Hopefully they get help from this group, and hopefully they're a better team for it. But, they're in a weird spot where they have to figure out, like, I'm going to give you the projected WAR total for first base, 0.6 on Zips. If you bump that up to like a 2.5, right, that you add 2 more wins there, you add a left fielder that allows Dominguez to be the primary center fielder. He has a pretty, aggressive projection. He's projected for a 108 OPS plus, which for a rookie is pretty damn solid. That's not a bad projection at all. So, we'll see what the Yankees are able to do. We'll see how they're able to put their team together. But, being able to add, I think at this point, it's clear they need 3 bats. I want a second baseman / third baseman. I want a left fielder. I want a first baseman. It doesn't have to be a superstar at either position. It just has to be some pretty good players at said position. So that's where I'm at with this. I don't know if you disagree or you feel any other type of way.
No, of course not. I mean, listen, this team has holes. We understand that, but the American League, I mean, I've been making it very clear for the past week or so that the American League is extremely weak. Like, the Yankees, I mean, the Orioles just lost Corbin Burns. I mean, they just lost arguably the best free agent pitcher on the market. I mean, they could go and acquire somebody, but it's not going to replicate his value. I mean, losing him is substantial. Yeah, last year was their year. They were trying to be competitive, and they squandered it. So the Orioles, I don't see them as a major threat. The Red Sox getting Garrett Crochet, of course, that's a big one for them, but he's also had some injury issues in the past, and they need offense. Like, they still have a lot of holes. I mean, Crochet only plays once a week, so, they have other needs too, which doesn't seem like they're going to be addressing immediately unless they make some sort of big acquisition, which is possible. The Rays are afterthought. They're cooked. The Guardians, they don't have pitching. I mean, the Royals lost some pitching. Like, this is tough. It's tough for the American League right now in terms of where teams are. The Yankees can easily coast through the American League. They just have to if you added Christian Walker and Cody Bellinger, you're still probably in a good spot to win the American League. Are you in a good spot to win the World Series? Probably not, but you're good enough to get there. And I think that's all that really matters, is just getting to the World Series, and anything can happen.
I also would like to add, the Yankees need to add as if they're not in position to win the American League. The Yankees need to the Yankees need to view this offseason like, we fucking suck. Like, they need to.
You're
think
also
to
competing with the
themselves
Mets and Dodgers and Padres. That's really what you're competing with.
Look, the Red Sox, like, the thing I will say also when it comes to projections, the Yankees are like a win better than the Astros. They're like 2 projected wins better than the Orioles. They're like 3 projected wins better than the Red Sox.
If they trade Tucker, that's gonna change significantly.
Right, but like, it's 1 to 2 to 3. That's within the margin of error for projections. Like, you can reasonably go, like, if you're. Let's flip this from the perspective of, let's say we're a Red Sox fan, and if this is a Red Sox podcast, an Orioles podcast, an Astros podcast, Fireside Astros, let's say Fireside, nightmare weirdo world of Fireside Red Sox. But what I'm thinking to myself, I'm a Red Sox fan, is okay. The same way that the Yankees really haven't done any work to their offense, and they lost Juan Soto, and they're still projected to be the best team in the American League. They haven't done anything yet on offense. There's no guarantee they will. If you're the Red Sox, right, and you're able to take an Alex Bregman off the board, and you add him to your roster, right? And you improve your offense. You move Devers to DH. You have I mean, that's a scary thought, right? Because Bregman is a scary hitter. He's perfect for Fenway, all that stuff. If the Astros bring back Bregman, right, and they have Paredes and Bregman, that's not good for the Yankees, right?
Yeah.
If you're the Orioles, if you're able to, import a high-level starting pitcher, now this is where I will say the one contender that the Yankees, not that they shouldn't be worried about, but the Yankees should feel pretty good about where the market's headed for them, is the Orioles. They're not getting Corbin Burns. It's down to the Giants and the Blue Jays, most likely. It doesn't seem like the Orioles are heavily involved in that bidding. The Yankees took Fried off the board. The Red Sox took Crochet off the board. The Rangers took Evaldi off the board. I guess they could go after Flaherty, but they seem not very interested in that. Alex, it's very concerning where they're headed. Maybe they go get Walker Buehler. Maybe they trade for Dylan Cease. I don't know what they do, but that's a team that's kind of you can hope that the pitching market doesn't. The Orioles need pitching, and pitching is very expensive, and the Orioles are very cheap. That's kind of the best way to put it. For the Red Sox, they need more. They need more, but they're capable, I think, of getting it. The Astros, they need more, but again, I think they're capable of getting it. I think the Yankees are capable of getting what they need to do, but they need to go out and do it, right? They need to go out and do it. They need to go out and get bats, a first baseman, a left fielder, a second base, or third baseman. One guy I really like that I hope the Yankees go after in the infield, and call me crazy, I don't know if this is actually attainable. I would love to see the Yankees, go after someone. See if like the Diamondbacks, if you can't get Tucker, are the Diamondbacks going to do like Nestor Cortez for Eugenio Suarez? Because I know they need pitching. Their pitching is terrible. And you look, Suarez is a big right-handed power bat. I like, obviously I've talked up Lamont Wade Jr. before. We'll see if that can come to fruition. I'm questionable on that because it seems like they're going for it. The Giants are in on Burns, so we'll see. But I think there are avenues for the Yankees in the trade market to get better. There are teams that need pitching, that have bats that can't afford pitching, and you can kind of, exploit their needs a little bit. Nathaniel Lowe, I'm going to keep pounding the table for Nathaniel Lowe. He is an unbelievable duo of defense and offense for, and it has a skill set that I think would play well at Yankee Stadium, projected for a 120 OPS plus. If you import him, maybe you trade a Clark Schmidt to get him, or you trade, Nestor Cortez and a reliever. If you were to able to get Nathaniel Lowe, right, and you add him to Cody Bellinger, get like a nice second baseman.
That'd be great.
Right,
you
yeah.
You don't give up draft picks in terms of,
you give up
Walker
no draft pick for those two players. Exactly. You give up a pitcher. You have
2 years of control.
Nestor. And if you trade Nestor, then you next offseason, you don't have to really look into adding a starting pitcher because Nestor is your only impending free agent. I guess right. Stroman would be too, but are we looking at Marcus Stroman and going, oh wow, yeah, we were looking at him at the 2026 plans, and we were trying to get him out of our 2025 plans. So yeah, I feel good about where the Yankees can pivot, but they've got to pivot. You know what I mean?
Yeah, they have. So like, I want to say that they do. I feel like there is pressure, right? Like the pressure's certainly on because like you lose Juan Soto, like now, well, what does the team look like? What's the outlook? There is not necessarily a major rush right now, right? Like if you lose Teoscar Hernandez, like whatever. He's older, he's 32, he's going to get a nice deal. He wants to go back to the Dodgers, right? Like he does not want to go to the Yankees. He wants to go back to the Dodgers. He's publicly said it. Santander, I would be fine missing out on Santander. He's 30 years old, coming off his best year. Horrible defender, had a 30% OBP this past season. Like, he's going to be a hole in multiple ways in your lineup. Not to mention, like, defensively, he's a complete liability. It destroys your alignment in the outfield. You're going to have one of the worst defensive outfields in the sport. I don't like Santander for the Yankees. So, Bellinger is the only fit, and the Cubs are not finding anyone that want him, right? So the Yankees don't have to rush through this because, like, nobody wants to take on Bellinger's salary. The Yankees have that as a last resort option. They don't like the free agent outfielders probably that much. I mean, the fits don't make a lot of sense. So, with that being said, we all want to know what it's going to look like. We all want to know what the solution is going to be, but there really isn't, like, a huge rush right now, Ryan. You know what I mean? Like, I get that people are like, antsy, the Mets have Soto, we lost it, it's still fresh, it's still kind of new, and we're emotionally kind of responding. But the truth is, like, there's not a major rush right now. So I'm going to let Cashman, like, do I trust him? Not necessarily, but do I think he's going to do what's best for the Yankees winning next season? I do think that. He did it last offseason. Look, the Yankees know, if we're saying what everyone is thinking, like, they can't waste Garrett Cole's prime. They can't waste Aaron Judge's prime. They can't sign Max Fried and then lay a dud next season. Do you think the Yankees don't know that? You know what I mean? Like, it's safe to assume that they understand that they're playing with fire right now, that they know losing Soto was a shot in the neck. Why did they back out of the Christian Walker signing, Ryan? Because they want to make sure they have draft capital for Kyle Tucker. It's so obvious.
Yeah, the Yankees, here's how I look at it. I'm not going to penalize, like, I'm not going to feel worse because they couldn't get Tucker, because that never felt like a backup plan. At no point, when the day after Soto signed, there was not a point in time where you and I were like, all right, the next move is Kyle Tucker. It's like, yeah, the next move is like supplementary bats. And we bought into it. We bought into, like, you know what? There is a path to contention. This team was very bad in a million different ways. They didn't go to $800 million for Soto. I understand why. There is tape of us talking about Soto and us saying $800 million was a walkaway number for us. There just is. There is public, I will say, where I was like, as a fan, I'd give him any dollar in the world, but as an organization, if it gets past $800 million, it is what it is. And, it's 765, quote unquote, but it's $805 million. It is because of the option. And he's going to pick that up. So, at the end of the day, I don't know, like, am I frustrated that it went to $805 million? Am I frustrated that the Cohen just dropped dick and got Soto? Obviously. Am I frustrated that the New York Yankees are not going to be able to get Kyle Tucker most likely because it seems like the Cubs have inroads and the Cubs have the prospects to do it? Yeah, but that's the cost of doing business. That's the cost of going out and getting Soto and not being able to bring it back. That you accepted that risk when you traded for him. The other thing I'd like to point out is, at the end of the day, We'll see. We'll see. I mean, maybe they're right on Cody Bellinger. Maybe the 6 extra expected home runs, maybe it actually comes to fruition. Maybe he hits 30 home runs next year or 25 home runs next year and has a 117 WRC plus. That's not bad. That'd be pretty good for the Yankees in left field. And the other thing to point out with left field, and this is, I do think the Yankees will play Cody Bellinger in left field unless they get Kyle Tucker, which, again, I think you and I can agree. As the hours have gone on, it feels a little less optimistic on that front. Left field's a position where the Yankees are going to get defensive-oriented guys. They got Alex Verdugo last year. I believe Bellinger's a better hitter than Verdugo. I've seen people put out StatCast pages. You can't look at their
objectively.
Right, you can't look at their barrel rates. There are a lot of StatCast can't capture a couple of things. Or, there's just player profiles can't capture a couple of things that are important. And it isn't good body nonsense or grit or whatever. It's Cody Bellinger pulls the ball in the air and Alex Verdugo doesn't. Cody Bellinger hits the ball in the air and Alex Verdugo doesn't. His bat objectively, what he does objectively should lead to an above average hitter, and it will lead to an above average hitter at Yankee Stadium. Right, there was actual data out there to suggest that Cody Bellinger's, you know what I mean?
I mean, Verdugo was in the most lefty-friendly park on the planet and couldn't have a positive WRC plus.
Yeah, he had a 90 WRC plus before he traded for him. There's the difference.
Yeah, and then he had 84 this past season in the most hitter-friendly place he could be in for lefties. Cody Bellinger would mash in Yankee Stadium objectively. It would be a big upgrade. Don't lie to yourself. Cody Bellinger would be a big upgrade over Alex Verdugo, but it doesn't even come close. Doesn't even come close to making up the difference between Juan Soto losing him. And that's where you have to find other solutions there, right? That's where Christian Walker helps you get. If we're just using WRC plus as our metric here, Anthony Rizzo had a negative 0.2 WAR, I believe, last year. He was a negative asset to the Yankees. Negative. Ben Rice was barely even positive. So, the Yankees had negative production at first base. Christian Walker gives you what, 3 point? What do you have? 3.4 WAR last year?
I think he paced for a 3 WAR, but didn't get there because of injuries.
Okay, so let's say he was around. Excuse me. What was it? I don't even remember. It was
around 3 though. I think it was straight up.
He had 3. Yeah, it was straight up a 3 WAR. So you're getting 3 additional WAR at first base by signing Christian Walker. Let's just say for giggles. And then Bellinger last year, he was a 109 WRC plus. He wasn't great at 2.2 WAR. Let's say he has 3 WAR. Let's say he has 3 WAR. Yankee Stadium hits 6 more home runs. He gets to 3. That's 6 WAR right there that you're gaining. I don't even remember what Alex Verdugo's WAR was. I think he was pretty low too.
0.6.
0.
So you get a 2.4
first base
upgrade
and left
there.
field. We'll do 0. I mean, we're talking about left field and first base had a total. Let's say Rizzo played the whole season. Let's just assume because DJ LeMahieu played first base and he had negative WAR. These guys were horrible. They got 0.4 WAR from those two positions combined. Bellinger and Christian Walker equal about 6 WAR. Let's say, you're getting 5.5 WAR from those two players. Max Fried had what last year?
Pitcher WAR is a little different.
It's a little different. I'm just using WAR as an example, but he had 3.4.
The Yankees needed help in their pitching staff. A lot of projections did not like how that pitching staff's going to look for 2025, and I get it.
We're just adding WAR together. So 5.4 WAR plus 3.4 WAR, you're at 8.9 WAR. You're getting a lot of value from those 3 players.
It's important to use team production at first base too. So the Yankees got a negative, what was it, 0.6 from Rizzo, but in terms of every at bat taken by a first baseman on the Yankees, negative 0.6 WAR. Negative 1.1 WAR. Negative 1.1 WAR.
Booty cheeks. It was just cheeks, dude.
Left field,
they had DJ LeMahieu playing first base, for God's sakes.
Right. At left field, it was 0.9. At, third base, it ended up being 3.4.
Even
but a lot of that
had 3 WAR.
Right. A lot of that had to do with Jazz at the end of the season. At second base, look, I like Glaber, but they were middle of the pack 2.0 WAR, and Glaber wasn't an elite second baseman last year.
I bet you Durbin has 1.52 as a rookie. He probably has.
I don't think they should play Durbin if they're not going to get Tucker or Soto. I think they need to cover the bat. But I don't know. I'm the only reason I'm mentioning Bregman at this point is because I have no idea. I don't want to spend
$200 million on Bregman, though.
I don't want to either.
$20 million for an infielder at 30 years old is crazy.
I don't think it's going to be a great contract. I just wonder if the Yankees' interest there is actually legit. I'm curious to see if Jack Curry changes his tone.
I think it's pressure. Yeah, I think it's pressure because I think the Astros want Bregman back. Objectively, they do. They offered him a 6-year, $152 million deal, right? He wants $200 million. The Yankees are like, well, we'll take him from you, and we will screw you in the process. They're going to drive that price up. Think about it. If you're the Yankees and you're cashing him in, how best to force Astros to consider giving you Kyle Tucker, because you said it before, if the Astros give you Kyle Tucker, you're basically kissing the American League goodbye to the Yankees. You're giving them the American League. How do you force them to do that? Because the fans want Bregman back. The players want Bregman back. Jose Altuve is like, you have to bring him back. They're publicly forcing the front office to do something. The players are putting pressure on them. So the Yankees say, okay, buddy, well, if you don't want to give us Tucker, we're gonna raise the price on you on Bregman. We're gonna keep forcing his contract up, and then maybe we'll just bow out until you have to sign him, and the contract will be up. We'll just put pressure on you guys. There's a lot of different games you could play here to put the Astros in a really difficult spot, because look, if they get Cam Smith, we don't even know if the Cubs are willing to give Cam Smith. We just heard that that's what they would have to give for the Astros to consider it, and that was on top of Suzuki and Paredes. And Suzuki already has a full no trade clause, right? So like, you can't trade him. He doesn't want to go to the Astros apparently. So like, you already now are down a spot. You're giving Paredes, but then the Astros they wanted a corner outfielder in return. Now they don't have the outfield situation solved. Like, it's not exactly like a puzzle piece right now. It's, it's very much fractured. So like, if you're the Yankees, you could put pressure on the Astros and saying, okay, we're interested in Bregman. That's real. We're interested in Bregman. You force them now to pay Bregman and try to get something done there, and then they have to shed salary because they don't want to pay Bregman more than $152 million or $156.
I actually did have kind of a crazy idea last night, and this is kind of out there, so everyone's just gonna kind of bear with me here. If the Astros and Tucker going to the cut, if that's just gonna happen, right? I would love for the Yankees, let's make this a 3-team trade, but I don't want Bellinger. I want Seiya Suzuki. Would he approve a trade here? Because he put up a 138 WRC plus last year. And Alex, I know that the questionable defense in left field would be a bit of a concern, but I kind of don't care that much. Like, he's good. He's pretty fast. That's something that's important.
With the full no trade clause.
I was saying if you approve the trade here,
if you approve it,
because if they get Tucker, I'm pretty sure he has to DH unless the Yankees get Bellinger. So I think he'd want out, and he doesn't. He mentioned he doesn't want to DH. He put up a 3.6 WAR last year in 132 games. You extrapolate that over 100 feet, that's close to a 4 WAR player. 138 WRC plus. Great arm, good speed, kind of profiles a little bit like Verdugo did, where it was more of an arm-based defender than a range one. Right. He's hit a ball 15.5 miles an hour this year. Great plate discipline, great power. He's got power to all fields. He can pull the ball. He can hit it.
17 years, cheap.
Right, 2 years, pretty cost controlled, as you mentioned. This is the kind of player where, like, this is a sizable offensive upgrade, right? Like, this is the kind of guy you import to your roster and you go, okay, I have a 130 WRC plus hitter on my team. Like, that's a step up from the Cody Bellingers of the world. And look, if you go out and then you go and because you could offer like a small piece and probably get Suzuki because you're taking on salary. Yeah. You're helping the Cubs facilitate a deal.
Yeah.
If you give the Astros, let's say, Rice, and you give the Cubs Warren, right? Because the Cubs apparently want Warren, and you pull that deal off, you still have Nestor you can dangle in a deal. Could you maybe flip someone like Nestor for a Josh Naylor, add him at first base? Then, you can look at you haven't given up any picks, by the way, haven't given up 0 draft picks. You can look for a second baseman now. You can look for a third baseman, whatever you have to do to go out and improve your infield. That would be, look, you put together a lineup. We've got, Suzuki, Judge, Naylor, Stanton, Chisholm, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Like, that's not bad. It's really not. Like, it's pretty solid. It's got enough power. You can replace a lot of the power you lost with Soto. Right. A lot of plate discipline. Naylor is someone who doesn't strike out a lot, despite being kind of a big power hitter. I don't know. I think it's a little weird. I don't think it'll happen. But just floating that out there, like, I think that'd be a weird idea to throw out. I don't know. I think the Yankees have to get creative.
It's not crazy.
I want to see them get creative.
We didn't think that Soto was going to be a Yankee last year, and like, stuff happens. You know what I mean?
Verdugo came out a little bit of nowhere. Josh Donaldson came out of nowhere. Yep. I guess the argument someone could make is that the deals that we're referencing as, I didn't know that was going to happen. Donaldson, Bellinger.
So bad.
Yeah, not Bellinger, Verdugo. Like, those deals sucked.
They sucked.
So bad.
Yeah, and those were like patchwork deals. You know what I mean? Those were like patchwork.
Was a surprise move, and that worked out pretty well. I'd say the Yankees did well in the Rizzo trade. 2021 and 2023 was very good.
He would have been good. He was very good
without the concussion. So
that ended his career.
Yeah. Look, the Yankees got this. I think they'll be fine. I think they'll be just fine if they figure out.
They kick tires. Yeah. They just kick tires until something like shakes free. Something shakes
Yeah.
in like, oh, that's why I want Kyle Tucker. Like they just mentioned that they were listening to players, and then suddenly like Kyle Tucker news took on a life of its own. So you just never know. You talk, you ask questions, and players become available. Look, Suzuki. Yeah, like they're considering trading him. He'd be a sick player for the Yankees. Obviously, I mean, defensively, he had 3 defensive runs saved last year and -3 outs above average. So like, take it as you will. Maybe it was break even. He's not a great defender. Maybe you stick him in right field and you can survive with that. But at the moment, I think the Yankees would probably just prefer to just acquire a salary dump in Cody Bellinger for next to nothing. I'm curious though. Like second base is going to be an interesting one because I don't love Bregman. I think he's 30 years old. That contract's going to be an absolute cancer down the road. He doesn't profile well for Yankee Stadium. His home run totals in Minute Maid were a lot better because that short left field, that short left porch, and they have that wall there. The Yankees, it's deeper. He's not going to hit as many home runs. I think it was a quite substantial amount less. I don't remember what the number was exactly.
So this year would have only been 25 to 26. He had a little more opposite field power this year, but yeah, for the most part in his career. I mean, if you're going to look at 1 year of his batted ball distribution and go, oh, he'll be fine at Yankee Stadium, I think that's kind of crazy, right? Like I think we can agree. Yeah. We don't want to do the whole, just don't worry. It's just 1 year of it. Like it's 1 year. It's a good state. Like, come on, like that's crazy. No, I don't. I think. Look, I think it's interesting. I think the Yankees should look into see if his market creator. But no, the one player who this has legitimate like come out of nowhere candidate to happen. If Alonso's market craters, I wonder if the Yankees tap in on that. Like,
the Mets want him back. The Mets apparently promised Soto that they're going to get another big bat.
I did hear that Cohen spoke pretty favorably about bringing Alonso back. So
I mean, that would be a crazy combo for them.
That'd be hilarious.
Alonso and Soto would be pretty nuts.
That would be crazy. I mean, like it would be hilarious if we got
the Yankees got him.
Yeah,
the thing is, I'm not paying 6+ mil for a horrible defensive first baseman.
If his market just like completely fell apart and he suddenly
I'd take it for 20 mil. I'll take it for 20 mil a year.
I do it like 20 mil, right?
I do 20 mil.
Yeah,
but he's not going to settle for that. I think the Mets will bring him back for more.
I agree. I think I fully believe that if it's a 2 to 3 year deal, like why would the Mets not be the team that gets him?
Yeah, I mean he could win a chip with them. Like I think he wants to stay there.
I think he wants to be there.
He put pressure on them, like that Heyman report. The Heyman report, like he would like to go to the Yankees. I think that was like a
it's
Mets
crazy
like come on, like step it up, buddies.
Yeah,
but I do think. Second base is one. I mean, you could theoretically move Jazz back to second and then go and acquire a third baseman. Mm-hmm. I just don't know what third basemen are available that would be like actually beneficial, unless you want to go like Alec Boehm or something like that. But
yeah, and
I don't know.
But the Phillies seem to be trying to use Boehm to get like legit major league pieces back. And are you trading like?
They really tried to float Boehm and Castellanos for freaking Tucker.
Dude.
If that's true, they're out of their mind. They're out of their let's give away. Like, I mean, Castellanos has a big contract. Boehm is he made $4 million last year, still in arbitration until 2027. But Boehm is he's a good player. He's
a pretty
good
player. Is a better player than he's been at any point over the last 3 years. And it's funny because I've said up until this year, I've talked about how he's an overrated player. And now the 1 year where I think he was actually pretty freaking good, now everyone wants to trade him. And it's like, well, shit, now I'm the Alec Boehm defender. Now I'm sitting here and saying Alec Boehm does make sense.
No, he had his best year this year by far.
Yeah.
By far.
Yeah.
3.5 WAR.
Good
no
defensive
other season
year at third.
1.5.
I wonder, now, if you ask me, like, would I want Boehm on the Yankees? Like, if it's for nothing, sure. Like, if you could do it for, like, I would trade Nestor for Boehm.
Yeah, I was going to say.
But, like, I don't think
I think that's a good solution. I think that's a fine. I mean, he's going to hit, like... He's a righty, right? So I don't know what his stats look like in Yankee Stadium in terms of pulling the ball or spraying it to right field.
He does have some opposite field power. Like he's okay.
A little bit. He's okay, yeah. So let's say he has 15 home runs a year for the Yankees. He plays 140 plus games for the past 3 years, so he's healthy. Low strikeout rate guy. Doesn't walk much, but he has an OBP around the 33% range. Great batting average, dude. Makes a lot of contact.
A lot of doubles.
Had a really good defense.
That's kind of
a lot of doubles, which is nice. I like doubles. Reminds me of Andujar a couple years back, 47 doubles.
It's like if Andujar if Andujar like a
didn't
shittier
suck at third base.
Andujar, right? Like a shittier
Yeah.
rookie Andujar, which, hey, I'll take
Andujar
that.
was such a good dude. I really liked Andujar back in the day.
Yeah, I wish he panned
like
out,
he had
too.
so much potential. He was a good dude. His bat was alive, man. Like you saw like,
Yeah.
when he was hitting, he could freaking mash. He just was the worst defender I've ever seen. Like he just could not play defense. It was crazy. So,
Yeah.
little Andujar kind of twist there, but
No,
yeah,
I mean,
Alec
look,
Boehm's interesting. I don't know.
if you got-
infield's tough.
Here's what I will say, he probably is one of the better bats available in the infield, considering that, like, dude, I'm sorry, he's a better hitter than Caleb Durbin. That's not like fucked up to say at all. Like, that's just a fact. I love Caleb Durbin, but like, let's be honest. Like, there's one guy who's a proven major league hitter, and the other guy's a proven AAA hitter. There are levels to this, right? The best players in AAA become good major leaguers. The good major leaguers good AAA players become major leaguers. Good major leaguers are good major leaguers. Now if you did like Bellinger, Bohm, you sign like you'd kind of want to get another lefty, right? Like ideally you'd get like a low, but then if you trade for Bohm, do you really have the ammo for it? Right? Like and now you start getting a little weird. Bohm, it's weird. The Yankees, they've got to get really fucking creative. Excuse my language. Also, if they're going to trade a pitcher for an infielder, God, you just know Brendan Donovan's just like... Brendan Donovan's at like the top. Brendan Donovan to Fireside Yankees is like what... I mean, is there like a comparison? What would be like an apt comparison here? He is like our child, basically. Brendan Donovan is an honorary New York Yankee. He could never play for the New York Yankees, and I'll be like,
Dude,
yeah, he's a New York Yankee.
That's where I would start to look if I were the Yankees.
Right? Like...
That's where I would start to look. Brendan Donovan at second base.
I'd feel something. I'd feel juice.
Yeah.
I'd feel some juice.
Yeah. Pause. But yes,
Hey,
I do think.
yeah,
like,
I'm sorry.
It's a layup. It's a LeBron Terry Rozier type situation. But like, I think if you're the Yankees, Brendan Donovan is the perfect second baseman for you. The guy. He can do it all, and he can play. He has utility value down the stretch, and he has a couple years of control left. Like that's where I'm looking. The St. Louis Cardinals are a freaking joke. Like they should be selling players like that. If you had to trade Clark Schmidt, I mean, I don't know what a package would look like, but let's say it like
Give
Kyle
him
Tucker
Luis
falls
Seal.
through.
I don't give a shit. Like give him.
Like, Brendan Donovan's controllable for years.
The second he steps into Yankee Stadium, you go, here's $100 million for the next 8 years. Come be a New York Yankee forever,
he's a really good player. If you got Bellinger, Carlos Santana, and Brendan Donovan and Max Fried in one offseason, you're running back to the World Series.
I will say this: if we get Donovan and Bellinger, the FU move is getting Walker, right? Like if you're gonna spend the
at that point, like I mean, you're probably giving up prospects though. But I think like
you're giving up picks. But fuck it. Like I don't care.
Yeah,
fuck it. Let's do it.
I think though, like Santana and Walker both had 3 WAR last year.
Yeah, the one concern I do have is Santana's bat, how it ages in 25 compared. Like Walker, if you're getting Bellinger and Donovan, they're good, not dominant hitters. You want to make sure you just have as many good hitters as possible, because then what you can do is you can do a stack of, and also you want to have someone who can hit left-handed pitching. Whereas like Bellinger, you question that ability to hit left-handed pitching. You've got like Donovan, Judge, I would go Jazz Chisholm third, and the reason I say that is because I think he has a ton of power, and he's kind of he's going to swing a lot in zone. People are going to pitch to Jazz to not pitch to Judge, and I think that plays well for Jazz because Jazz is the type of guy who likes swinging in zone.
Yeah,
and we saw what he did at Yankee Stadium. If he could do that over a full season, he's a 3-hitter.
He needs to be in a spot. Yeah,
Bellinger 5, Walker 6, Wells 7, Volpe Dominguez 8, 9. Like, dude, that's stacked, dude. You've got power 1 through 9. You've got tons of speed. You got what you got. And look, for Donovan, I don't know how to do a recruiting pitch here, but boy, oh boy, where do I even begin? Donovan, honey, my Pookie Bear, I've loved you since I first laid eyes on you. The way you drive the ball into right field and strike fear into pitchers' eyes, your silky smooth glove, your gorgeous contact rates, I would do anything for you. I wish it was possible to freeze time so I'd never have to watch you retire. You are a great ball player. Sometimes I wish I could even call you my dad. I forever dread and weep thinking of the day that you will one day be traded to another organization that isn't the Yankees. I would sacrifice my own life. It were the only thing that could put a smile on your face, Brendan Donovan. I need him on the New York Yankees, man. He just makes so much sense, man. He just does. He would have hit 19 home runs last year if he played here.
Crazy, dude.
Great defensive player at second.
He's the best. He's like the best version of Gleyber Torres.
And could you imagine him leading off off in front of Judge. Like, he's just good. Dude, he's going to hit, like...
Yeah, he'll mash for you.
And he could hit, like, 290, slug,
and by the
like,
way,
450. Oh.
I wouldn't hate Durbin becoming our infield utility guy.
Right. That's not a bad outcome at all. That's great.
You can play second, play third. Like, that's fine with me. You know, you put Waldo at first, all the outfield spots, shortstop, like, you have him still. I don't know, like, Donovan, like, feels like a perfect fit. It has for a long time. We've been raising this argument for, like, weeks now, if not years now. We've loved him. I think that really is a perfect solution for the Yankees. You give up picks and, like, yeah,
you put up 5 OA at second. Could you imagine Jazz,
that's crazy.
Volpe, Donovan, Walker? Oh my god!
And that's the thing about Jazz, though. I think you make a good point about Jazz. Like, if you put him in a spot where he's gonna have to see pitches in zone, he's gonna crush them.
He's gonna hit 30 home runs.
Yeah, because the thing about Jazz is, like, if you put him in a spot where nobody's on base ever, and people are pitching away from him, breaking balls in the dirt, he will chase them. He'll chase them. But if you would put a guy on first base, you know, Aaron Judge is walking at a 42% clip, and Jazz is hitting behind him, and he has to see strikes, he's going to mash baseballs, guys. He's going to mash baseballs.
I will also say, if you have to end up signing Santana instead of Walker, I'll point out Donovan had 1 outs above average last year in left field in 187 attempts, which is a pretty good sample size. If you had to, and, like, let's say Santana sucked, right? Yeah. Throw Belly at first, throw Donovan at left. You can move Donovan to second. You can do whatever you have. Donovan and Bellinger give you insurance everywhere. They give you insurance everywhere. Donovan can play second, third, first, short, right, third. Like, if you have to put Donovan at first base, and you can literally do anything. And also, if you get Santana and Rice clicks, I believe in Ben Rice to an extent. I believe in Ben Rice. I do.
His bat's real.
I buy into it. I do. I think that it just depends on what the rest of the team does. They're just so bad at first and left right now that you'd almost be like, if they just marginally upgrade, you feel good. I don't know. It's weird. There's on one hand acknowledging that it sucks because if Soto stayed that we could be talking about a 100-win team, but also acknowledging that this team could probably win 95 to 96 games and be by far the best team in the AL still. It just sucks that if it was Juan Soto or Kyle Tucker, I'd be like, this team's winning 105 games. Like, this team's winning 1 billion freaking games. You know what I mean? So, yeah.
But I think the roundabout point to wrap up this episode is that the Yankees have options, right? The Yankees can save this offseason. Is there a big rush right now? Not necessarily. You know, Cashman's waiting. He knows the market. He knows he's going to be the top bidder for most of these teams no matter what. Why would you... Like, the Yankees have the ability to kind of control where the market goes because of them always being involved in the high stakes. With that being said, you get creative. There's ways to improve this roster. Juan Soto losing him, it freaking blows. And fans that are whining and complaining about it, it's gone. It's over. It's done. There's no going back to what we had. We have to look to the future now. So I think what we're doing here on this podcast, and we're 42 minutes in. I know a lot of you guys yesterday liked the long form videos that we did, and just kind of have it in the background. We are just talking. You know what I mean? Like, Ryan and I are just talking, seeing what ideas bubble to the surface. We'll keep doing those discovery things. Ryan, maybe we'll do a little series about creative trade targets that nobody's talking about. I think that could be a cool one because, like you said, the Yankees tend to come out of nowhere. You know what I mean? They tend to come out of nowhere when it comes to trades. So maybe there are things they're working on that we don't even know. We haven't even heard about. And maybe we put it on the docket. Sometimes you just ask a question and suddenly that player becomes a reality. Like, just like Kyle Tucker, that was not a reality until someone asked the question. Maybe we bring up these names and suddenly they become possibilities.
And also, our job, like, okay, again, and when it comes to Soto, like, what Alex and I will never say is that it doesn't hurt to lose Juan Soto and that it isn't bad for this team to have lost Juan Soto. But now we have to talk about how they can improve. Like, that's just we're not going to do is sit here and go, Soto left, I hate baseball, the Yankees suck, and then repeat.
Right back on the freaking wagon, dude.
Yeah, right back on the wagon. Look, at the end, if at the start of spring training, assuming that no free agents sign like super late like they did last year, which I'm assuming they're not. Bohr seems to be moving his clients along nicely. We could expect a decision on Burns soon. Snell signed early, Soto signed early. I expect the Bohr's clients move quickly. CAA clients have moved quickly. My point more so is if on day one of spring training, we look at the roster and we say, this is a satisfactory team, this team can win a lot of games, that's the goal. The goal is to win baseball games. The goal is to win the World Series. The goal is to sign a specific player. It is to win the World Series. And in whatever way the Yankees can win the World Series, I'll take it. I'll take it. I don't care how it has to happen. I just care that it does happen. I just care that they're a contender. I just care that they're making positive expected value moves. I just care about those things. So obviously, they're in a tough spot. They're going to have to get creative. We didn't want them to have to be in this position because it requires a lot of maneuvering and taking risks. And, look, if you trade Luis Gil, what if he finds it? What if he finds his command and he, strikes out 30% of batters and you've just dealt away an ace? That would suck. What if you bite the bullet and trade Clark Schmidt and then Clark Schmidt stays healthy and puts up a sub-3 over the full season? That would suck. What if you trade Nestor Cortez and the change up that adjustment clicks? He puts up like a 3-4. He's like the next Jordan Montgomery, and that sucks, right? Those things would suck. But those are moves now that you have to take. Those are risks you have to take now that you didn't sign Soto. What if Donovan comes over and he's not very good? I mean, I doubt that, but the possibilities of players you acquire that aren't Juan Soto not being very good is a lot higher than the probability of Juan Soto not being good. He was like, bank it, guarantee it, he's going to be a great player for you. You can't really say the same thing for a lot of players in this market. So I'm a little bit worried. But, we'll see. Mm-hmm. We'll see. So, yeah.
Worried until we're not, but that's why we're talking about options and coming up with names and ideas and getting creative, because this is what it takes to win. This is what it takes. So Juan Soto wasn't real until suddenly it was real. Things materialize quickly in baseball, and Cashman, he likes to get creative. Does it work all the time? No. Like you said, Josh Donaldson is a booty. It was booty cheeks. I mean, how many Frankie Montas, booty cheeks? How many guys, Sonny Gray, booty cheeks? How many guys have we gotten that were just absolutely horrible? A lot of them. A lot of freaking guys. But then you have the rare Juan Sotos that lead you to a World Series. You see what a player like Soto can do. You see Kyle Tucker would put us right back in that conversation, right back in that World Series conversation overnight. I mean, Ryan, let's be honest. Kyle Tucker plus Max Fried is better than having Juan Soto from a WAR perspective. From a WAR perspective, yes, there are different things that Soto does that you just simply cannot replicate. Some at bats that he has, the guy looks possessed. The Mets got a freaking monster, and I'm not gonna sit here and bat around that. That's just the truth. But, I do think there are ways to get better, post Soto, and the Yankees got to be aggressive to do that. Is it possible? Yes. Is it probable? Probably not. But we'll see what happens. We'll keep coming up with ideas. If you guys like the idea of us kind of just talking about trade ideas and trade players and, pieces that could be available or maybe undervalued or maybe overvalued that maybe the Yankees could tap into, let us know. Maybe we'll start a segment just talking about creative ideas, the ways the Yankees can get better. Doing some mock stuff, see what happens, put it out into the universe, and maybe the Yankees see it and enjoy that kind of idea. But always happy to hear your thoughts and ideas and anything you guys want to see on the Fireside Yankees channel. This is for you guys. We record for you guys. It's all about what you guys want to hear. So always happy to get your feedback. As always, make sure you like and subscribe, and we'll catch you guys on the next Fireside Yankees episode.
Perfect.